निवेदन करूंगा श्री पी.के. श्रीवास्तव जी, एयर वाइस मार्शल वीएसएम रिटायर्ड, प्लीज कम। उनका डेजिग्नेशन ही अपने उनके कृतित्व को बोलता है। वो पहले एक्स डायरेक्टर रहे हैं भारत इंडिया डायनेमिक्स लिमिटेड में, जो गाइडेड मिसाइल सिस्टम्स और अदर इक्विपमेंट्स हमारे मिलिट्री को प्रोवाइड करता है। और ये हम सब के लिए बड़ा गौरव का विषय है कि जो व्यक्ति इसके बारे में बात कर रहा है वो कैसे बनता है, कैसे उपयोग किया जाता है और उसे कैसे इस्तेमाल किया जा सकता है दुश्मन पर विजय लाने के लिए, वो इसकी भली भांति जानकारी रखते हैं। मैं निवेदन करूंगा कि वो अपनी बात रखें।
Respected, distinguished intellectuals on the dais, especially I'd like to thank Professor Kuthiala, Chairman, Panchnath Research Institute, and Professor Yogesh Singh Ji for giving this opportunity, and all the learned people and the professors and the trainers and the gurus in the audience. When I was given a moment to think about what the country will look like in 2047 through the prism of my experience of 48 years, out of which I spent 35 years with the Indian Air Force, 4 years making the class of missiles which you see, Agni, Prithvi, the more common, all kinds of missiles, and then in L&T in the private sector, talking about unmanned military vehicles and everything. It was a dream moment for me to ponder over. I have a dream, like Martin Luther King Jr. said in 1963. I had to dream about my country as to how I want to see it in 2047. And what can be our contribution towards that as of now, and we'll not be there to see whether it works out or doesn't work out. So, I said, yes, military might or military power is a very critical part of national power. Then what is sovereign? The purpose of sovereign is to protect the lives of people, to let them prosper, to become what they want to become, to lead the life of their choice. If that be so, sovereign also has the overriding right to demand you to die for the same sovereign. This is a kind of little contrast. So what brings out that can we have a power within us that we die very little, but we build the nation for many, many people. And if that can happen, how that can happen? You need definitely a force behind peace, as was so vividly told by Professor Kalam, President Kalam, because he was the one who founded Bharat Dynamics Limited. It was part of his vision. He wanted to bring in the missile barrier, the nuclear missile barrier between you and the evil eye of the enemy. That he brought in. And we paid price for that through sanctions, and we lived through it. But yes, today it is there and it is respected world over. If you see that, it happened for very, very developed countries also. What happened when he thought of the military power? Actually, he was thinking of technology. He was thinking of the knowledge of technology. Why, when you ponder over all the time, even from our Sanatan times, people who won, the winner, had one thing in common. He was intellectually, knowledgeably, and technology-wise superior than the enemy. This we manifested in one form or another in our own revolution in military affairs. But when we talk about it, it's a very broad spectrum. Which technology? Because as a nation, we always have limited resources and large number of people to feed, to make them disease-free, to see that they prosper in their own field of choice. You have to balance it out. Which is that technology that today we say, and we have a dream or share with learned people like you, and then you push it forward as to what is that thing which we must focus on. To illustrate that point to a group which normally believes in research and reference data, I must give some examples. In 1958, when Eisenhower was the President of the United States of America, Sputnik flew into space. It woke up the American president. How Russians have gone ahead of us in technology? How are they now going to tread and fare in space and we remain on ground? What he did, apart from doing the constructed thing, he built two organizations: National Aeronautics Space Administration. What I'm trying to say, you need a structure. And the second one was Advanced Research Project Agency, which now is known as DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. NASA had the one critical element objective that you must learn and routinize the space launch so that we do better than our competitors. And then only we can be ahead in knowledge and wealth and technology, and the military power, which is a critical part of national power, will assert itself and keep Americans at peace and in the run of prosperity. They did so. DARPA, the one critical message was high reward and high investment technologies will be reaped there, and then these building blocks will be given out to the industry, which will make the weapons which will keep Americans safe. Let's take a leaf out of that book. For us, as the government realizes, Atmanirbharta is a very important component of national power. We today have 70% Russian equipment, 70% dependence for a military power on a country which is at war with Ukraine. We are asked to take, we are diplomatically handling it, and all the time we say our external minister is doing a great job. When he made a statement that what they buy in one afternoon, we buy in 1 month. When people were pressurizing us to buy a very costly, because security, the energy security is the power with which the country keeps its inflation low, prices low. If that goes away, the country really runs on the streets like Sri Lanka, like Tunisia now has gone into bankruptcy. So you have to understand that people will force you. The diplomacy is the art of power, is not the art of speaking. How do I derive this power of mind? And what is the best way to do it? Best way is, I have people, I have knowledgeable people, I have the genes and genetics of my Sanatan. I also believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I should be leading in the technology. But am I doing so? Am I really doing so? This is being built now. It is being built for past 7-8 years, I'm seeing, and such a great pleasure for me because I left Indian Air Force in 2010. So what is it we can do? We went through it. I'll give you 2 examples, 2 things. Moskova, we all know, it's in the news, was sunk by 2 Neptune missiles in Russia-Ukraine war. 2 missiles cost them $10 million. Moscow was $750 million worth of a major war-fighting ship. What went into that? Because the real-time coordinates were given by the Americans, which they have accepted now, and 2 missiles could reach the target with precision. It was possible. It's not impossible in today's world of war fighting. And that real coordinate came through the algorithm on board of an unmanned flying machine we call UAV or drone. That was AI, artificial intelligence working in its form. It is known in many, many forms. Some people call it big data analytics. Some people call it machine learning. Some people call it computer vision. But for military purposes, there another dimension. When you fly lightweight, this is a fly lightweight autonomy. means lightweight items can fly through very congested environment at very high speeds. I'll give another example. So Moscow was sunk with the tool aboard on an unmanned aircraft, having that major tool which decided that was an AI-driven tool, artificial intelligence and its nuances. Let's come to the second part. You all know that Azovstal is still holding on, because just to give who are not following the war, Azovstal is not going to go down because there are 6 stories underneath the ground wherein thousands of people can live for months together. They have enough supply. It's like Patal Lok. If you enter there, if the Russian forces enter there to capture Mariupol, they all will be decimated. But let's think of FLA. And just for your information, who's working on FLA in Pentagon? Our own Indian, Dr. Vijay Kumar. Because we didn't have any program here, Vijay Kumar shifted there. And another doctor who's working there is Chinese. They are not Americans. It's a brain exported there, working there, and that FLA gives the power. You can launch from a truck-size military vehicle millions of inch-size quadcopters, which will go through the tunnel and hit only the recognized people or the parameters you give human beings. This is called automatic target recognition, which is the toughest art of the algorithmic science. It can happen. So if somebody just opened through the tunnels Azovstal, where the Russian forces are there, if this technology is used, which Americans have mastered already, you will not find anyone surviving there, despite all the protection. It's something like weapon of mass destruction. So I said, yes, we as the power of our IT, if we combine it with our thought, combine with this thing, we can make this. And I'm telling you, and this is my very considered opinion, that in times to come, AI would be as pervasive as electricity. It will be as pervasive. So we need to master that. So this was which technology, and then is how we do it. Of course, we can do it only through a structural change in the organization, not through the existing one. And that change has to come. That is what I have tried to propose, that we can do it. It's not so difficult. It's not so fund-centric. It can still be done. And if that is so, that is one dream I carry with myself for 2047, to see a very strong country, so that I defend, as a country we defend our peace, our people, but we need that force behind that peace and people. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.